Have a good day.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us here on First Edition. If you're headed out, please be safe. It's going to be a long commute in. Otherwise, stick around because sunrise begins right now.
This is KARE 11 News Sunrise.
Enough already. More rain brings more troubles to the Twin Cities overnight, and it could make for a messy commute. We'll have a live report. Up north, people in Ada are once again keeping a watchful eye on the rising river.
Good morning. It's 70 degrees in the Twin Cities. The storms have calmed down for now, but more on the way this afternoon. The forecast in just a moment.
And because of that storm activity up in the west and to the north, we have some road closures for Wright County and a problem with a rolled over semi. We'll give you all the details.
And word this morning that a Twin Cities brewing tradition is drying up. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunrise. I'm Brad Woodard. Kim and Frank have the morning off, but fortunately for us, Jonathan Uhas does not, and he's been tracking some pretty severe weather for most of the night. Good morning, Jonathan.
Hi, Brad. Well, it's been very active here in the Twin Cities and points west of here overnight. So, Brad, it's been a very active night. We're certainly, not to be cliche here, but not out of the woods yet because we have one more front to go through before we start to see some better weather. And that's coming tomorrow. And then the next couple of days, you can get back on the hammock, drink iced tea, and then just enjoy summertime weather, okay?
It's about time. All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, it could be another active day traffic-wise. Things are getting off to a pretty bad start, right?
Exactly, Brad. And with regard to what Jonathan was talking about concerning all that standing water, such as on Highway 12, Highway 25, respectively, we have closures now to report to you in Wright County. We're also dealing with a crash, Brad, 280 northbound at Kasota in St. Paul, and that one should be clearing the next few moments. So an active traffic Tuesday.
All right, we'll check back with you later, Dave.
Okay.
Well, as Jonathan and Dave mentioned, streets are flooded, lawns are soaked, and more rain is on the way. These are pictures from our sky cams taken overnight. Driving rains and thunderstorms pounded the metro all night long, making for an amazing light show and leaving many streets underwater. Our Renee Tessman spent the night in one of the area's hardest hit, and she joins us live from Golden Valley this morning. Renee?
It was simply too much rain, too fast, but the rain did taper overnight, and by 3 o'clock this morning, the floodwaters had started to recede.
All right, Renee, thanks very much. Well, residents in the northwestern Minnesota town of Ada are bracing for the worst again this morning. The rain-swollen Wild Rice River is expected to crest any time now. Residents are hoping this massive clay dike will hold up. When the town was flooded 2 weeks ago, they had only a wall of sandbags to keep them dry. This morning, the river is expected to reach 1.5 feet higher than the record 18-foot crest of 2 weeks ago.
We had a study here done, and it was going to be $2.5 million to build this and whatnot, or more than that. And heck, we put it up in 24 hours, and it's done.
The Wild Rice River is moving downstream from Monoman, where at least 19 homes were destroyed from the flooding. A brewing tradition apparently ran dry yesterday in St. Paul. Minnesota Brewing Company announced Monday it will no longer make beer at the old Schmitz plant on West 7th Street. It says a bank discontinued its funding, and between renovation delays, equipment troubles, and failure to get union concessions, the brewery could not meet expectations. In all, 120 employees are now jobless. One says it's hard to believe this may be the last chapter for a plant that's been in business 150 years.
Should be a place where keep going. I mean, all of our neighbors here before kept it going. No reason we can't.
St. Paul Mayor Randy Kelly says efforts underway to find new investors or another brewer. Meanwhile, the adjoining Gopher State ethanol plant will stay open, sparing about 30 jobs. Well, the St. Paul School Board votes tonight on budget cuts for the next school year. The district must cut $20 million from its $534 million budget because of declining enrollments and less than expected state revenue. A budget committee already has made plans to reduce its administrative budget by $1 million and decided to use $1.7 million out of the district's rainy day reserve. Education Commissioner Christine Jacks wants her boss's job. Jacks announced yesterday she'll seek the Independence Party's endorsement for governor. She's the first big name to declare an Independence Party candidacy since Governor Ventura announced his retirement last week. Former Democratic Congressman Tim Petty is also expected to say this week whether he'll run for the party's endorsement. Ventura has said Petty is his choice to replace him as governor. Minnesota Department of Public Safety Commissioner Charlie Weaver is moving ahead with changes to immigrant driver's license. A ruling by an administrative law judge granted Weaver permission to put on licenses when an immigrant's visa will expire. Weaver praises the ruling, saying it is a significant step against the threat of terrorism. Critics say it will lead to discrimination against legal immigrants. Suspected terrorist Zacarias Moussaoui will be back in court today for his second arraignment on conspiracy charges. Earlier this month, Moussaoui was granted permission to be his own attorney, but now he's asking for help. Court documents released yesterday show that Moussaoui has asked the court to let Texas lawyer Charles Freeman help him question a government witness. It is 6:09, and President Bush will visit with firefighters and evacuated families in Arizona today. He'll also survey the scene of one of the most destructive wildfires ever in the West. This morning, diminished winds and cooler temperatures are slowing the mammoth blaze that's already destroyed hundreds of homes. Crews have been working throughout the night on 2 fire lines that they hope will stop the fire, now a mere half-mile from the town of Show Low.
We're still not showing any containment because those lines are active. In other words, they're not black and they're not what we call secure.
The fire has charred about 331,000 acres since it began just 2 weeks ago. It is 6:09, and coming up, it's being called one of the sneakiest computer viruses, and if you're not careful, it could wreak havoc on your PC. Find out how to keep the cleas out of your computer. Plus, some say the web will never be the same again, the early stages of three-dimensional internet.
Good morning. It's 70 degrees in the Twin Cities. The big rains are over for now, but more are on the way late this afternoon into this evening with a good chance for thunderstorms redeveloping. 88 for the high temperature later on today.
And because of all that big rain, Jonathan, we still have the after effects, which include closures for Wright County, some roads that we'll tell you about, and this problem ongoing, a rolled over semi in Spring Lake Park. All the details when we come back in 2 minutes.
You're watching the news on KARE 11 with Kim Inslee, Frank Vassalero, and Jonathan Uhas. This is KARE 11 News Sunrise.
Welcome back, everyone. It is now 6:13, and you're looking at our Golden Valley Skycam, and the picture says it all. Unless you're a very sound sleeper, you might have noticed by now that we've had some pretty serious weather all night long, and Jonathan Uhas has been here all night long. How's it looking, Jonathan?
Well, Brad, it looks much, much better. We're seeing a big break here in the weather now in the Twin Cities. However, later on this afternoon into this evening, another round of thunderstorms, and some of those could be severe. Flood warning. And those flood warnings are out because of the heavy rains last night have produced flooding conditions on the small streams and rivers in those areas, and standing water is going to be around probably through about 11 o'clock this morning, maybe even a little bit longer in some areas. So, Brad, the serious rain fell just west of the metro, but tonight, once again, we could get another round, and the grounds are so saturated even here in the metro that water could rise very quickly. So check those sump pumps before you do anything today, all right?
Good advice. But by tomorrow afternoon, you said you're going to be doing what?
Drinking iced tea, wearing sunglasses, wearing my favorite shorts, and you will too, I'm sure, Brad.
Yeah, iced tea,
and enjoying
definitely.
it.
Thanks a lot, sir.
All right.
Well, as you might imagine, all of the rain we've had is definitely having an impact on the roads. Dave, how's it looking out there?
Well, I'll tell you, if you look towards Wright County, with all the flooding and such, we have some road closure information for you. Moving just fine. All that traffic coming at you is south 494. So an active traffic morning to be sure. Later on, Brad, maybe we'll try to squeeze in some road construction news for you.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay.
Well, in Coffee with Care this morning, we invite you to join Frank Vassalero, Belinda Jensen, Kim Inslee, and dozens of other Twin Cities celebrities for a fun day of tennis. It's the 7th annual Children's Heart League Tennis Invitational. Teams and individuals are paired with celebrity players, and each court is also named after a celebrity host. There are great door prizes, raffle items, giveaways, and lunch. Ability doesn't matter, and all you need is a good attitude. The international medical charity is dedicated to the treatment and prevention of heart disease in needy children. One group from the Twin Cities recently performed several surgeries in China, another in the Ukraine. The 7th annual Children's Heart Link Tennis Tournament, hosted by Frank and Belinda, is Friday, July 26th at Northwest Athletic Club's 98th Street location in Bloomington. There are separate morning and afternoon rounds. You can call 952-928-4860, extension 17 to register or learn about the organization at childrensheartlink.com. Well, coming up, experts call it one of the sneakiest computer viruses they've ever seen. Find out how to protect your PC from CLES when we come right back. Buckle up. Cruising the information superhighway is about to become a real ride. Experts at USC are developing an internet system that streams 40 times faster than most home computers. It also includes surround sound, digital video, even vibrating floorboards, all transmitted over the internet from a computer in Virginia. The next step is for internet companies to create content that requires this sort of massive data.
Once that happens, then the revolution will become similar to what happened with cable television.
The timetable for all of this is about 5 years. Well, starting on July 6th, a new computer virus could wreak havoc on your PC. It's called the CLES virus, and it started making the rounds earlier this spring. So far, more than 900,000 copies have infected computers all over the world. And if it's not off your PC by July 6th, it could permanently delete all of your files. So how do you get it off your computer? Well, Robert Stevens from the Geek Squad is here with some tips on that. Good morning, Agent Stevens. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
What exactly is the CLES virus and how does it work?
Just another virus, same story as usual, only this one triggers itself on certain odd months, and on January 6th and this coming July 6th, if you have it right now, it will trigger then and try and erase all the files on your hard drive and any computers you're connected to.
And this is one of any number of viruses that you should be concerned about. First of all, how do we avoid, let's assume that we don't have the virus, how do we avoid getting a virus like this?
It's the same story as before. You know, these things usually spread through emails with files attached to them. So people don't often get files attached in their emails. So if you get one, I recommend that you just, if you don't click on the file, you won't get the virus. You can click reply and ask that person, did you really send this file to me and what is it, before you click on it.
And what exactly can this do to your PC if you by chance open it?
Well, not only will it infect your machine and potentially erase your files, it'll try and send itself to all your friends and any other email addresses it can find on your computer. That's why you also want to keep your antivirus software updated, and you know, software like Norton Antivirus has a update utility that'll automatically update itself, you know, once a day, once a week. This specific virus at Norton.com, they have a free CLES tool that you can download for free that'll detect it and get rid of it and clean it off your computer. So it's something you should probably download and run for free in the next couple days.
Okay, any other viruses out there right now that we should know about?
There's new viruses every week. You know, same old story.
Okay. Agent Stevens, very nice to see you as always, sir, and we appreciate you coming in so early this morning.
Thanks.
All right. Well, for more tips on how to protect yourself from CLES and other computer viruses, we've built several links for you at the care11.com website. Just search news using the word CLES, and we'll be back right after this.
This is Care 11 News Sunrise.
Driving rains and thunderstorms pounded the metro all night long, making for an amazing light show and leaving many streets underwater.
Well, there's blue skies above this morning. That is good news for folks who live just west of the metro. I'm Renee Tessman. We were in Wright County overnight. We'll show you what we saw.
Good morning. It's 69 degrees in the Twin Cities. The big rains are done for now, but we do have more rain and thunder on the way late this afternoon. The forecast in a moment.
And Jonathan, though the rains be done, we have some road closures in Wright County you need to be aware of, and a couple of big accidents right here in the Metro-wide proper. We'll show you where.
And it could save your life, the importance of wearing sunscreen even when it's cloudy. Good morning, everyone. I'm Brad Woodard, and welcome back to Sunrise. Kim and Frank have the morning off, but Jonathan Uhas does not, and he's been working throughout the night to track the storms that have been pounding the metro. Jonathan, what's the latest?
Hi, Brad. Well, the storms have now decreased in intensity, and they're really just nothing but showers now left around the Twin Cities. Counties right now just west of the Twin Cities. Even though the rain has ended, the rivers and streams will still continue to rise through about 11 o'clock this morning. And I'll keep you up to date on everything, let you know more about that forecast in just a few minutes.
And Jonathan, we're kind of tight on time this morning, but this system seemed to move through more slowly than most storms do. Could you explain that to me?
Well, what we had last night is the storms were developing in very unstable air, but Brad, we did not have a front pushing those storms away. Usually we see cold fronts flying through the state that take thunderstorms and move them very quickly. But last night the thunderstorms developed and then just sat almost stationary, and then once one storm died, a new one would move in from the southwest and take its place. So we had lines of storms that were just lining up from the Twin Cities back to southwestern Minnesota. So once one storm ended, another one was right behind it, and again these storms were moving very slow. Now as we get into this evening tonight, once again, Brad, a slow moving cold front is going going to move into the area, and storms will form along that front, and they won't be moving quickly. They'll be moving very slowly. And just for a water cooler fact, the average thunderstorm can crank out about 3 to 4 inches of rain. Usually, though, the average thunderstorm is moving 30 to 40 miles per hour, so that doesn't happen in one spot. Last night, the thunderstorms were pretty much developing in one spot and then staying there, raining themselves out, and then another one would move right back into the same area.
So brace yourself for round 2 this afternoon.
Right, exactly.
All right, Jonathan, thank you much. As you might imagine, the rain has had an effect on your morning commute as well. Many roads closed. Some accidents already this morning?
Exactly. We're going to show you those accidents in a moment, but first let's talk about those road closures that Brad is referring to. And for now, Brad, in the metro-wide area, roads are drying out, but as Jonathan said, that will change again later on.
All right, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
As Dave and Jonathan said, overnight rains have resulted in a lot of flooding, especially just west of the metro. Our Renee Tessman joins us now with more. Renee?
Good morning, Brad. I'm in Golden Valley this morning, and most of the immediate metro area did get by with just a good soaking, but you had a half hour west on Highway 55 and you end up in Wright County, and more specifically the city of Buffalo, where the ground quickly reached its saturation point and the rest of the rainwater simply rushed into the streets. Now you could see standing water every arrival. Now, the city of Buffalo is not out of the woods just yet, even though those waters are receding, because as Jonathan said earlier, more rain is expected tonight. So we'll just have to see what happens. Back to you, Brad.
Okay, Renee, thanks a lot. It is 6:37 and residents in the northwestern Minnesota town of Ada are bracing for the worst again this morning. The rain-swollen Wild Rice River is expected to crest any time now, and residents are hoping their dike holds up. And joining us live via the phone this morning is Bruce Bisser, the Assistant Fire Chief in Ada. Good morning to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Bisser.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. How is the dike holding up? We're told that the river, the Wild Rice River, is going to crest there sometime by noon and perhaps set a new record. How are things holding?
Well, things are holding up pretty good here. I was just out this morning here as soon as we got some daybreak here and could take a look, and nice sunshiny day, so we're hoping things will start to turn around and go back down again. So.
Keeping your fingers crossed. Bruce
That's
Bisser,
right.
Assistant Fire Chief with Ada, we appreciate you being with us this morning, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
In other news, the Minnesota Brewing Company has closed, marking the end of 150 years of beer making at the last Old Line Brewery in the Twin Cities. The company had filed for bankruptcy protection in February. Its chief brand, Greenbelt Premium, will live on only if another regional brewer buys it or agrees to make it under a production contract. The brewery employed 120 people. Northwest Airlines is allowing customers to change reservations and exchange electronic tickets online. Customers will be able to use the website to make such changes if the original trip was ticketed with an e-ticket, whether bought online or over the phone or at a reservation desk. It is 6:40, and in other news, the St. Paul School Board votes tonight on budget cuts for the next school year. The district was cut $20 million from its $534 million budget because of declining enrollments and less than expected state revenue. A budget committee has made plans to reduce its administrative budget by $1 million and decided to use $1.7 million out of the district's rainy day reserve. And Education Commissioner Christine Jacks wants her boss's job. Jacks announced yesterday she'll seek the Independence Party's endorsement for governor. She's the first big name to declare an Independence Party candidacy since Governor Ventura announced his retirement last week. Also, former Democratic Congressman Tim Penny is expected to say this week whether he'll run for the party's endorsement. Ventura has said Penny is his choice to replace him as governor. Corey Stringer's widow wants more information about other Vikings players who may have had heat-related problems during training camp last year. Her attorneys made that request in court yesterday. Lawyers for the Vikings have refused to release the names of other players who suffered heat-related illnesses, citing confidentiality.
So they had 10 people, 15% of their team, flattened with a very critical illness. One man fighting for his life in the hospital, and they held practice as usual in the afternoon.
As far as our proof of the case, this case is going to be proved in the courtroom, and we're very comfortable with where that's going.
A judge has taken the motion under advisement. Well, it seems like we haven't seen much of the sun lately. It's still important to remember to wear sunscreen even on cloudy days. And here to tell us more about protecting your skin from the sun is Lori Fryer, a physician at Park Nicollet Clinic in Golden Valley. Good morning to you, Lori.
Good morning.
A lot of times people just assume, well, the sun isn't out, I'm comfortable, I shouldn't worry about getting sunburned, but that is not true, right?
Right. It's still very important to use sunscreen even on cloudy days, and important to use a sun protection factor of at least 15 or greater.
And what is the best protection from the summer sun? That's a no-no, what you're seeing right there, isn't it?
Right. Baby oil is a no-no. Those types of things will just promote sun burning, which can lead to further problems down the way, such as skin cancer, premature aging. So it's important to use protective clothing as well as the sunscreens and sunblocks.
And what other types of things you can do? You can wear a hat.
Sure.
Sunglasses are important.
Right. You know, sun exposure on the eyes can promote cataract development as we age, and so it's also important to protect our eyes with sunglasses when we're out in the sun.
And minimize exposure during peak hours. Those hours would be
right.
what?
Between 10 and 4 is when the sun is at its peak, and you should make sure that you reapply your sunscreen frequently during those times according to the manufacturer's directions.
Okay, and then of course use and reapply sunscreen. You know, when you're shopping for sunscreen, you see all of these different SPFs.
Correct.
15, 30, 45. Which is the best?
Well, it's important to use something that is at least 15 or higher. The SPF stands for sun protection factor, and that means it's 15 times the amount of time your skin would normally sunburn. So if you sunburn in 10 minutes and you use a 15, it would take 150 minutes to achieve the same sunburn.
Okay. Let's say that you didn't follow your very sound advice this morning and got overexposed to the sun. What is the best way to treat a sunburn?
Certainly prevention is the most important thing to try to prevent it from happening in the first place. But you can use topical moisturizers, bland moisturizers, cool compresses, over-the-counter analgesics such as Tylenol for the discomfort. And it's also important that if children become sunburned, they can become sick quicker and develop fever or dehydrate. And so if they do blister or develop other symptoms, you should certainly contact your healthcare provider.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to leave it at that. We appreciate you being here with us this morning, and thanks for the very sound advice.
Thank you.
All right, have a nice day. And coming up on Sunrise, who's winning the war on terrorism? The results of a new poll that may just surprise you. Plus, President Bush calls on the Palestinians to oust their leader. And firefighters in Arizona worked through the night trying to build a barricade to protect the town of Show Low. We'll have the latest.
Good morning. It's 69 degrees in the Twin Cities. A few light showers on the north side of the metro, but the big thunderstorms are over with for now. But later on today in the daytime heating, after an 88-degree high, we have a good chance for thunderstorms, and some of those could be severe this evening with heavy downpours of rain. More on that coming up.
And Jonathan, the water cleanup continues in Wright County. Of note, Buffalo, we have some road closures for you for Wright County, and the cleanup continues right here in the metro in Spring Lake Park. This is the site of an overturned semi. We'll give you all the details when we come back in a couple minutes.
You're watching the news on KARE 11 with Kim Inslee, Frank Vassalero, and Jonathan Newhouse. This is KARE 11 News Sunrise. This is KARE 11 News Sunrise.
Welcome back, everyone. Unless you're a very sound sleeper, you're probably aware that the metro has been pounded by severe storms all night long. Several inches of rain dumped in a matter of hours, and what you might not realize is that's wreaking havoc on the roadways, right, Dave?
Boy, it really is. And I'll tell you what, Brad, just north of Watertown, a big sinkhole has formed. It's Highway 25 to the exact spot is Highway 25 north of Watertown, northbound at 98th, but you can see traffic is still tight back towards Highway 13. So a busy morning to be sure, and for now, things are drying out, but apparently that will change again.
All right, Dave, we'll check back with you later. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
And time now to check in with Jonathan Newhouse, who is in the backyard and has been here most of the night following the storms. Jonathan, what's the latest?
Well, Brad, the storms have decreased in intensity here around the Twin Cities, but we are going to see more storms late this afternoon. It'll be dry and just a slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm on Saturday. So, Brad, improving conditions, but still some flooded roadways off to our west and still a chance for big storms later on today. 2
full days without thunderstorms. That's amazing.
You'll like that, won't you?
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, still ahead, a massive wildfire continues to close in on an Arizona town. We'll have the latest. And the Twins are on a roll. Highlights of last night's game when we come right back.
And this is the scene in Spring Lake Park for your rush hour. Highway 65, the southbound ramp to Highway 10 west. Garbage truck rolled over and the cleanup continues. Jonathan, what's going on in weather?
The thunderstorms are now over, but more are on the way later this afternoon. However, flood warnings still are in effect until 11 a.m. this morning for Wright County, Carver County, and McLeod County. Flooding still occurring in those areas just west of the Twin Cities. We'll have some thunderstorms later today. Some could be severe. Back to you, Brad.
That does it for us. We appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for NBC's Today Show. That's next.